Hello and welcome how to draw with acrylics. First of all, let me tell you what we're gonna need to do that. Canvas, brushes, a small bucket with water, acrylic paints, palette and paper napkins. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about the different materials and tools that we're gonna use. So first of all, for the canvas, I'm using cotton canvas and board. I was trying to use the cheaper version, but that was some bad quality, so I wouldn't advise going too cheap. This is €1.20, so that's about $15, and that is not very expensive in my opinion, so I would recommend that. If you are more professional artist, then you would go to using linen. It's more expensive, but it's also more temperature shift resistant, and for professional artworks that's much better, and it's usually used on frames and not on boards. Next, for acrylics, for starters, if you're just beginning, you can get a set of the small acrylics, the small portions of 12 milliliters. Let's take a closer look like this. So they usually cost around €5 per set, but some shops might have it at more expensive price. If you decide that you really want to continue drawing, or painting with acrylics, then this type of bigger size portions is available, and the bigger ones are around €5, and the smaller ones like this are around €3. That's some 80 milliliters. So they're not that expensive, and they usually already come in shades instead of some standard colors that are in the sets. Instead of napkins, you can use some old clothes or old t-shirt to wipe off the paint from brushes. For palettes, you can not necessarily buy it, but use some kind of plastic board that you might have lying around the house. Or the best that I could find was this palette on kind of small tubes that open up, and then close back. So these are very comfortable because the paint doesn't dry, so you can mix some shade and leave it, close it and leave it for the next time, and then use it again once you need it again, the same shade that you already mixed. So these are to help not waste any paint, and that way they're very helpful. So I found that these are very nice, and they can be found in color by number sets, or maybe you can get them in some online stores like Amazon or eBay, or what else, some AliExpress. So today we're gonna work with these ones, so I'm gonna put them a bit aside, and yeah, I'm gonna put them here and move this piece of plastic board palette aside. So just give me a minute to put them here. Okay, as you can see, I'm usually storing my paints in different this type of buckets or containers, I found it much easier for myself. I'm not gonna use the color by numbers palettes today. I'm just gonna use this one because sometimes I can also use canvas as instead of palette, just like putting the paint straight on the canvas instead of dirtying the palette, well, where I can. If you need to mix certain shade, then of course palette is better, but in our case we might use a bit different techniques, because that's what acrylics might require. So for this video I decided to use some shiny types of paints. I think that's gonna look interesting and well, I would say exciting for me. So let's begin by using this pebble. So this one is French, this one is also the same company. I'll show you like this. It's also the same company, so they might be quite similar, and these ones are French. This one is also French by Lefranc Bourgeois, a different company but also French one. This is Turkish. I've already tried this one and it has very weak pigment, so I was a bit disappointed. I wouldn't recommend buying this one, but I'm gonna show, or I'm gonna experiment how it's gonna look on different types of acrylics. This one is German by Marabou, and I like this one. As you can see, I already used some of it and I really like it. So for me it's gonna be experimenting by using these two types of silver acrylics. The first one that we have here I already tried using on paper, and I know that I need to pour kind of a lot of it for it to have the effect that it should be having. It says it has a honeycomb effect, and we're gonna look how it's gonna turn out on canvas. I've never used this one, so this is my recent purchase, and I'm very excited to use this one and try how it's gonna look. This color is particularly my favorite, so I hope that it's gonna turn out great. So let me begin by using silver, and we can put a little bit of it on the palette. And if there is some excess left on the tube, then I'm just removing it, or on the container, then I'm using some brush to remove it. So my plan is to use half of this space for this German acrylics and the other one for the French one, and see if there's gonna be much difference. As you might noticed, I used a bit of water, but acrylics don't need that much water. They are very obedient, I would say. That's why I like using them. If you put more of them, they're gonna be more thick, and pigment, there's gonna be stronger pigment and brighter color, so to say. If you're gonna put more water, then it's gonna be looking more like some watercolors, but I usually try to put some thicker layer. So I'm gonna create some circular shape. So this might also be related to some intuitive drawing, because sometimes I would see some type of spheres, or some cameras might catch some sun halo and stuff like that. Something that we do not usually see with our eyes, but then the sensitive cameras might catch it. So it's something from this paranormal activity, some mystery, and yeah, I think some kind of spheric shapes would relate to some intuitive drawing. I think we're also doing some color painting as well. We're not using many colors, but we're gonna see how they're gonna differ from each other. So next, let's move on to, I put too much of it. It's okay. I might put it back somehow. This might happen. Not the first time. Not the first time something like this happens. Yeah, I might put back some of it, or as I already showed you, I have this color by number palettes that might preserve. Well, I think this might be my first time trying this silver one, because I liked the German one, and I didn't try the French one. And I can see so far that German is thicker and it has better pigment. German colors are usually more bright and pigmented compared to French ones. And here I can once again see for myself that this is actually the case. So let me finish this side parts. Well, the side parts usually take more time, but that's quite important to do for an artwork, so it has to be done and can also be fun. We're pretty much done now, so not that much left. I can see that well, the silver on the right, which is German, it's kind of glittering more and is more thick than the French one. We will see this artwork once it's finished from different angles, so don't worry, we're gonna look at it closer a little bit later on. So what I'm doing right now is putting more paint because the pigment here is weaker. And as you can see, I'm trying to do circular motions with brush because I want to create this spheric figure, as you know. Yeah, there might be some hairs going into the artwork left from brushes, or just maybe some lying around. So I might need to use this tool. For my paper, I'm just using baking paper, but there are also some different possibilities that you might use to put under the canvas so you wouldn't paint over your table and tablecloths and whatever there might be. So my conclusion with the silver ones is that yes, the German has more pigment and is thicker, so I would suggest getting the German one if you have the choice between the two. So now I need to wash my brush, and the water is getting silvery, and yeah, close by it looks really nice. It looks sort of pearly. So now we're gonna try this one. This one needs some shaking before use, so don't mind my shaky voice. I'm just shaking this one nice and well. So this is how it looks inside. Well, it's very shimmering. So now I will just pour it. And a bit more. So that's it. Yep. There we go. Don't want to put too much. And now I'm not even sure how to work with this type of paint. It's not even acrylics, it's mixed media, but I think it's acrylic based. Now we're just gonna let this flow one way and the other way. Almost some pouring technique. Well, let me use a brush a little bit. Yes, this is some interesting media to work with. The thickness of the layer is something to work with. Okay. We're gonna leave this at that. Let me figure out the silver. No, I cannot figure it out right now. Okay, we're just gonna leave it as it is. And now we're gonna try this teal, or what color it might be, turquoise or cyan teal color, and we're gonna create this sphere around it. Well, it says it has high viscosity. Well, I can say that it does, but it actually smells very chemical, so I wouldn't suggest using it without a mask. And yeah, I'm using and wearing a mask I think would be a good idea when working with acrylics. Okay, I think this looks nice. We're gonna need more of it, but otherwise I think this experiment is successful with this Bebel high viscosity acrylics. And the honeycomb effect paint is strange, okay? Does it say? Let me have a quick look. Well, it says that yes, it's opaque colors and it must be mixed with another acrylics. But look, oh, it's creating, oh, I see. It's creating the honeycomb effect on acrylics. Oh. So, and it must be mixed. Okay, I got it. So, yes, we're gonna mix it with our acrylics. Well, for the Turkish one, it also needs to be mixed. It cannot be used on just white canvas separately. It needs to have some stronger color underneath, otherwise it's just not gonna work. Not working. I'm putting some more of this bluish color. Personally, I really like it, and it's nice how this honeycomb is looking with this acrylic, so they work well together. That's what I'm seeing, and that is some good experimenting going on. Now we're trying to make our sphere more round and working on the edges. So we're gonna get sort of an eye. It's an eye and some halo effect, some sphere, some round circle. What else can it be? If you have any suggestions, feel free to comment and write what this drawing reminds you of and what can it represent. Might be some sort of well, something to do with water. I have seen some similar pictures with some, I don't know, maybe some cave that's going deep down the earth, but then it would have some green area around it, not silver. This one, I don't know what can silver represent, but we're just doing some color painting. As I told you, this is some work with colors, seeing how they work together, how they are combined, and how this acrylics generally paint over the canvas. Okay, I think this might be looking quite good. I'm just gonna put a little bit more in some areas, more of this blue cyan paint, put around some areas to create more circular form and not to have some kind of left out areas and maybe some areas where the brush stroke doesn't look that nice, then we're gonna smoothen it up. So yeah, I think something like that. So now I'm thinking, what shall I do with this center? Well, actually it's looking quite nice and it is getting some honeycomb effect. Yeah, it's working, but and the one in the middle and the center is not even mixed with any other color, so it's working by itself, but I need to put a thicker layer to create this effect, and the area around that is thinner, that wasn't poured, it's looking a little bit weird. So I have this idea of mixing a bit of the silver together and the blue. Just mixing them together on our palette and working out this area between the honeycomb effect paint and the other paint, and the blue paint. Okay. Okay, just a little bit left, and I think that this is gonna be finished. The honeycomb effect paint is starting to dry, and when I'm putting acrylics on top, it starts making this honeycomb effect again. Wow. And it's cool, but on the other hand, well, it's interesting because it's creating almost sort of this sculpture type of texture, and wow, that is very nice, you know. I think there might be some nice way to use this honeycomb. Well, if given it some thought, then I think there might be some really cool ways to use this honeycomb effect, combining with other paints and maybe even media, other type of media. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. Otherwise, I might try to think of some ways to use this honeycomb effect to create more videos for you that would be creative, interesting to watch, and help you overcome some maybe negative circumstances, and by doing art create something beautiful despite anything that might upset you or be negative in your life. Well, I think this looks quite complete for now. The paint will take a bit of time to dry. I actually really like the honeycomb effect that this paint is given, and I think it's very interesting to try and see how it's gonna work when it's completely mixed together with acrylics. So the last thing we want to do is try out this paint. As I've said, it has very weak pigment. I'm going to use this art knife spatula. And this one is not very comfortable to use when I have to open and close it and put it in and out, so to say. Well, out. Yeah, take it out. Well, I might have put a bit too much, but okay. Let's sort of create some sort of movement around this artwork. Yeah, our first layer dried up a little bit. So as you can see, it's not very giving any color, so to say, just mostly some glittery shine. So I might want to put it somewhere around this area where the teal and the blue meets and silver, and yeah, we're just smoothing it up this area. Well, combined with silver, it looks quite nice actually, but just for your knowledge that this type of paint doesn't have its own pigment and is very opaque and should be used with other paint or on top of other paint, as I'm doing here. So I might use it around the silver area more as well. Just to try out and see how it looks. Yeah, it kind of helps me to smoothen up these areas around the sphere and the background, and then it looks sort of more this lighter. Well, it's actually mint, it says, but I would say it's this more baby blue, and then it livens up the silver and well, kind of makes the background a bit more blue, this opaque type of blue. Well, overall I would say it's not that bad, but to create some opaque effect, that's nice in combination with some other paints. And I want to try to put it more here in this area. I know that area looked a bit weird, but did I make it better? Not so sure. Oh, yeah, like this, I think. And this area is also looking like it needs some more strokes. Yeah, this area is looking a bit weird to me and needs some more smoothening. Okay, I think, yeah, I think this looks much better now. Okay, so I think we are quite finished with this. Once again, let's see how it's gonna look on at different angles, because now we added some more layers. Well, as you can see, there is a sort of honeycomb effect in the middle. Well, so this is how the finished version looks like. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye.